Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. My name's Keon, and today I'm going to be drawing Sailor Moon. So I'm starting by making this small frame because the image that I'm using as a reference is cut off at the hands and waist. So I'm just making this frame to make it easier for me to make the composition and know kind of where to stop with my drawing. So now that I've done that, I can start making some general shapes to kind of map out the composition and make it easier to later know where everything goes. So now I'm just drawing her head, the outline of her chin and her ears. Now, just her arm and shoulder and her hand. I never really watched Sailor Moon growing up. It's an anime from the early to mid 90s, and the anime is based on a manga that was released shortly before. I think they were running concurrently. I think they were making it at the same time. And it's a Magical Girl series, which is basically a story about young girls who have magical powers, who use them to save the world, basically. But Sailor Moon is probably one of the most famous animes under this category, and for good reason. It was a really well-made story with a lot of interesting characters, beautiful colors, in the anime at least. And I recently revisited the series and discovered how beautiful it was, and it made me really want to learn how to draw these types of characters. I was never really interested in anime before as a kid, or I guess that's not really fair. I did watch like Dragon Ball Z, and I remember seeing the transformation scenes from this show and being kind of amazed and thinking it was so cool, because she spins and she turns into a superhero, and I just thought, oh wow, how cool. But I'm not sure why. I just didn't really make the effort to find out more and to watch more. But that's life, and now as an adult I've been able to see and learn more about it. I think it's really cool. But the basic premise of the show is that this normal middle school girl is just living her life, kind of a messy life. She has like bad grades, and she's a bit lazy. She wakes up late for school, and just an average kid who just likes playing video games and doing whatever, no sense of responsibility or anything like that. But one day she meets this cat who tells her she's actually a superhero. She's Sailor Moon. and Usagi. I'm not sure if I said her name yet, but Sailor Moon's normal name, or her superhero name, I guess, is Usagi. She does not want to be a superhero. She is anything but a superhero. But she does reluctantly agree. And she has some pretty cool gadgets to help her in her battles. I'm trying to remember what they're called. I mean, they have some kind of names, that are very magical sounding. I can't remember them now, but one of them kind of produces moonlight, which attacks her enemies and kind of makes them weak. I'm not really sure how it works. The one that I thought was the most interesting was, I don't know if it was a lipstick or something. All of their gadgets were made of, or were disguised as girly things, kind of makeup or pendants, things like that. And there was one thing she had that turned her appearance into anything she needed in order to disguise herself as a doctor or a nurse or something that would make her go unseen in certain situations, which I always thought was really cool. And, there are other sailors, other guardians of the galaxy, or I don't think that's what they're called, but guardians, I think they're called. And they become friends with each other and learn about their history as guardians and what their responsibilities are, things like that. They're all very different. They're characterized very differently. So, as I said before, Sailor Moon is kind of like a silly girl who just likes doing silly girl things. And I always really appreciated that because I think it's more relatable than some of the other characters. And then pretty soon after Sailor Moon discovers her powers, she meets one of her classmates whose name is Ami. And Ami is later revealed to be Sailor Mercury. And Sailor Mercury has water-based powers based on, I guess, some association that Mercury, the planet, has with water. I'm not an expert on that, so don't quote me. And then later, they meet Sailor Mars, who has fire powers. And Sailor Mars is characterized as more of a leader type than Sailor Moon, even though Sailor Moon is the leader. She's very responsible, she's fiery and angry, I guess because Mars is the planet of war and conflict, I think. Then, after Sailor Mars, we meet Sailor Jupiter, who, as a regular girl's name, is Makoto, I think. And Sailor Jupiter, she, I think, starts as like a very competitive person. I think she was a tennis player, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure, like, what the basis of her powers are. I can't really remember now, but she's there. And then Sailor Venus, I think, is the last one that we meet for a while. She actually is talked about in the pilot as having already been a superhero, basically. Usagi, before she becomes Sailor Moon, sort of idolizes Sailor Venus, and there's lots of media surrounding her character. There's a video game, there's some magazines, and it's kind of funny how these characters are basically famous in their world. You know, there's all this media dedicated to them, and they look pretty much exactly the same out of their costumes. I don't really get why they're not recognized. It must just be some magical reason, but it's better not to try too hard to pick apart these things. I think it's more fun to just enjoy them. So the story kind of follows this monster of the week format, and they're also sometimes helped by this masked man whose name is Tuxedo Mask, because he wears a tuxedo and he wears a mask, I guess. This is Sailor Moon's love interest, and he's also someone she knows in real life out of costume. Another unexplainable thing that she just doesn't recognize him when he's not dressed up. But in real life, they have this kind of rivalry, hatred thing going on. It's sort of an enemies to lovers story. So just doing her knuckles, and then her finger. Dang, that looks weird, but I'm just gonna keep going because it's supposed to be fun, and I'm not that worried about it. So yeah, I'm just gonna fill in these sketchier lines from before. Do the rest of her body. I'm done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please leave a comment if you want me to draw something else specific, whether it be from another show or not anything you might want. And anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.